Good evening. My name is Steve Holt from 11 Tamarack Drive, and I currently serve as Vice Chair of the Board of Assessment Review. Richard McGinnis, our Chair, is out of town and was unable to attend this evening, so Richard and our third member, Rick Baraboo, jointly asked that I make this brief presentation. I was asked in 5 minutes to discuss the board's composition, charge, and responsibilities. So because it's only 5 minutes, I did not prepare any written comments. But I'm pleased to answer any questions that you may have afterwards. The board responsibilities come under, I believe it's section 702 of the charter, and it is comprised of 5 board members, although I have been vice chair since 2018, and I believe we've been down to 3 members, which is the minimum quorum. We are very lean in terms of members, and also the board has been very inactive in the last 3 or 4 years. Our charges are basically 2. We hear appeals from the assessor's office dealing with issues of valuation and exemptions, which is where most, if not all, of our appeals in recent years originate from. We also hear appeals from decisions from the town council on poverty and related abatements. And fortunately, those are very far and few between. To the best of my memory, we've only had 3 or 4 appeals. In the last 4 years, most of those have been resolved. We have not had elections of officers going on 2 years. That is a requirement in our policies and procedures. It's our hope, and I think that I can speak equally for the other members, that soon in this year that we will be having more meetings. We will be hopefully having a workshop to discuss our policies and procedures, how they address and how we can improve our efficiencies as an operating board. And that also includes communications between the chair, the vice chair, other members, with the assessor's office, with the taxpayers. There's a great deal that we have done in past years. We've rewritten the policies and procedures, but there's always more work that we can do, and quite frankly, we should do, because we're one of the boards in town that we do have to follow certain statutes in Title 36. And it's very important that the board understands its charge and its responsibilities. That, in a nutshell, is what we do and why and what we plan on doing in the future. I'll I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? I will say that I'm actually familiar with assessment review, having spent 4 years on the Cumberland County Board of Assessment Review Appeals. I know, it predates my time on the council, but so I found them to be very interesting issues. So I would encourage people to, if they want to join on what's going to be a complicated committee that doesn't meet that often, I think this is a good spot for some people.
And all of you are more than welcome to attend the future workshop if you would like.
Any questions? Councilor Updegraff.
Yes, Mr. Holt, thank you very much. Frankly, I only assumed, but didn't really know much about the board, so I appreciate that. Do you see some way that either your staff support person, the town assessor, or those of us on the appointments committee could better support your efforts to relook at your mission, perhaps your policies? Is there anything we can do to help support that effort, which I think is a great one?
I certainly appreciate the question, and it's very well received. I came to the board with a background in property tax, which is unlike most members of a lay board. I've spent a lot of years in the property tax appeals on both sides. So I've always viewed the Board of Assessment Review not merely as an extension of the assessor's office. And in fact, I can't speak for the other board members, but it has its own responsibilities under the statute. And I will say that in my time before, serving on this board, I've had the pleasure of working with 3 assessors, I believe. They've all been outstanding. The current assessor and staff are extremely, extremely accommodating. I think this board probably is not unlike other boards, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of trying to seek volunteers. And they certainly don't have to have a background in real estate or assessing, although that's helpful. The other point is, and I hope personally to bring this up at one of our workshops, is that the board, once it receives an appeal, then the board has jurisdiction over the parties of that appeal. And it's very important that the board exercise its overall authority, as opposed to deferring that to the assessor's office or to third parties in terms of extensions and those sorts of things. But I will certainly bring your comments back to Richard and Rick.
Thank you.
Councilor Watson, you had it.
I just wanted to acknowledge Dave. Prior to the meeting, he came up to me, and I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but he informed me that he was going on a trip or vacation to Europe and that he was going to be going to Normandy. And for those of you who don't know Normandy, that is the invasion zones that took place of the invasion of Europe during World War II, and that he will be visiting the cemetery, the American cemetery there. I asked him for pictures and videos and introduced him to Jim Nealon. And so I'm hoping that we may be able to experience some of his wonderful trip and have a view and sometime before Memorial Day, I hope, of Normandy and the American cemetery there.
I will do my best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Ankleys?
Thank you. Nice to see my neighbor here.
Nice to see you.
I wanted to ask, did you, in any of the cases, were any of those related to the appeals filed by big box retailers?
First appeal I had was, I believe it was the Vestal aircraft.
Kestrel,
Yeah. Kessel, I think, and Walmart.
There it is.
So we were involved with the Walmart case, and I'm not sure if that was appealed up to the State
was.
Board of...
It was.
I also currently serve on that board, and I know that there was a Walmart appeal that was recently heard and decided at the State Board of Property Tax Review. But here in town, we have had one residential after the big box. We had one undeveloped subdivision, and there may have been one or two others. And I think that the fact that there have not been many hearings before the board is a very accurate reflection that the assessor's office has done a very good job at resolving issues at that level.
I just wanted to say thank you for the work on the Walmart issue, because I know a lot of us were following that and following articles about dark store theory, and that now seems to be a complete victory over them, which is really good for all the rest of the property taxpayers in Brunswick and the rest of the state. So I just want to say thank you, and I think this is kind of unsung heroic work that you guys were doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.